Good morning. Welcome. Is to have the forklift be able to pick up the load while it's moving forward and backwards, right? So that's what I'm trying to do here. And I found at first working with the animation tools is kind of tricky. So I could get it to go forward and backwards. I need to attach the up and down one that it go back and forth too, along with the rest of it, while at the same time lifting the load up and bringing it down. With the load being right there where the forklift is being built. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to line this all up. I got the animation tools to be working right, so that when I lower the forklift down, all that track and everything would be down below the ground. And you can put stuff there to measure how deep you need it to go and stuff like that. Like for instance, if you got something going through a pool, it might have to be deeper so you don't see the track, but it looks like the item is moved through the water without any means of support. And you can work with stuff like that. I did a couple boats and stuff like that on previous builds. The submarine ones where I was getting them moving around in the water, and I had to get this track down below the pool so you didn't see it, you just see the sub in the water. Something similar to that here. I got the basic platform of what I'm going to build the forklift on. And building them before, I got the idea that this is the best chassis to use to build a forklift with. So I start out with this. I got the animation tools working right. See, it's lifting the load while at the same time moving. And I keep the forklifts, they do go forward and backwards. A lot of their work is backing up because basically you're not supposed to be moving forward with the full load. You can't see in front of you. You're supposed to turn around and back up so you can see where you're going, and making sure that your load is tilted back and it's not sitting 5 feet in the air. You got it low enough to the ground that your center of gravity ain't going to tip you over. Stuff like that. And stuff like that has happened. That's a part of working on a loading deck with forklifts. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I'm building the figure. I'm building the character that I want this forklift or a forklift. Because you can change the color of the forklift too. But most forklifts I've seen are usually that yellow, like workman yellow, kind of like the yellow hats for workers. White hats are usually for the foremen. The hard hats that they'd wear, or they're supposed to be wearing according to OSHA. Sometimes a ball cap suffices for a hard hat, I guess, in some areas. But if something hits you on the noggin, you're wearing a ball cap, you know what, you had that helmet. So they say. But that's safety for another day. So what I'm building here is a character so that this forklift, you're lifting this character up and down. So like it would do in a factory where maybe you'd be loading it up onto a track or a rack, or loading it into a truck. And there's different ways of loading stuff into trucks too. So that's part of the job, is no one doing like a 4-block, or you putting the skid straight in because you're using bigger skids and you fill out the whole space, because you don't want those skids moving left and right while the driver's driving. So you put them in so it kind of locks the pallets in place. I think 4-block they used to call it. That's what we call it, a 4-block. And then there's other methods too, like if you need to get so many pallets into a truck, you got to do a certain way to get everything to get the doors closed. Then the driver's got to be careful of opening the doors, because you don't know if that load now is just a pack. And if they open the door, that load, yes sir, it's not an easy job. But professionals are doing it every day, and they make it look easy. So I give my hats off to all those out there in the transportation, logistics, keeping it moving, keeping the pipeline flowing. Hats off to all those working that industry, work loading dock, unloading and loading. Some places are big enough that they got 2 docks, one for unloading and then one for loading. So if they're bringing in raw supplies, you drop them off at one end, they go store those until they need them, and then the end product comes out the other end, and then that's when you take them, stack them, store them, or you load them into a truck or onto a truck, which I did with that first build. I got a couple of trucks with a bunch of, and that's what I'm kind of going to be filling the rest of the park with, is these characters I created, throwing it up like they're being ready to be shipped out. And here's a forklift, look at it. And the thing with this forklift, I've gotten used to building it, so it didn't take as long. I kind of know what I was doing when I was building it, and I saved it into the workbench, so when I need the forklift, I can bring it in. I was able to hook it into that chassis. I connected it to that, which allowed it to be part of the whole build, and now the forklift's going back and forth, lifting its load. And I can put that, like I said, I can put the track stuff way down in the ground, or so that they're not visible, and it looks like the forklift is working on the dock. There you go. See, now it's kind of give the impression that maybe they're loading the blanks into that side there. Then it goes around getting the whole treatment, then comes out with a full face and hands and a nose and a smile. And so now I need to create a couple of those characters where I can stockpile them on the back here on this deck. And then I'll bring the wall, because what was happening, I took that wall I got behind and I multiplied it. I turned it 180 degrees, and then I used it as the other wall. By the time I was done doing that, my percentage had shot way up, and I do believe it's because of all the lights I got on that back panel. So when I eliminated those other walls and stuff like that, it went back down to 50%. So I might have to build those walls by hand without using all the lights. I'll keep the back one lit up, so. And it's working, see? And I'll use the screens. Like, I can put an image on that screen if I'd like, or just leave it like that. It works. So going into the factory with so I can put a bunch of those guys up on the dock here, as if they're fetching it and putting it into the line. So I'll go around and get a full makeup up there. And then I got the other side, possibly where they're bringing them off. And what I can do is I can go and take that forklift I put over there, go into that forklift and kind of finish it up like the ones coming out of the finish line. And I can have that, like he's pulling the finished ones off. And I'll have a few of them stacked up over there. And I think that'll close out the loading dock. Because one side I can put like raw supplies, maybe, to be what these things are made of. I think something that could be turned into a character you can use in the village. The idea, that they create. And the thing with these guys is, with the girls I create, I can shrink them down to a doll size, or I can enlarge them to statue size. So I can do all that in between, creating different looks and images. Like I used over there on the paint booth. I took one and I made it gray. The whole thing is just a gray, like it's a blank, dipping it into the back. See, there's that forklift I was talking about. See, trying to see where the best look would be. So I moved this one and I put that one in that place, and it looks like he's putting them in at that angle there. See, there's See, those are the blanks that's going through that side there. Oh, okay, yeah, it works. It works. I like it. So he's loading up blanks into this one. Just like that. Oh, that is cool. I did it. Hey, buddy. Right there is two great ideas that I got from my friend that I got suggestions from him, and here we are. I got the bus line running with a villager that just found something that maybe I was thinking put it in a chest there, like that, something he found it, or it could be a miner bringing up these gems that he got. And the reason I'm using that too is because they glow. Those will glow blue, so I just using that as something that might have been found while digging deep in the earth that miners dig into to get ore for building forklifts, or for building tracks, for building buildings. I love it. That's a neat looking loading dock. I got to finish it up though. I want to finish up around. And what I'm going to do here is, once I get the floor into place, then I'm going to start fencing all the, you can see the track and the trails and the pathways through the floor. And I'll use that as an outline to do the fencing. I want to do the, like a safety type fence that looks similar to the orange and the black right there on the forklift. I can make something like that all the way around these. Look like, okay, here you go. You can go to the roundabout, turn a few heads, and then hats off, the loading dock. And now this, I played around with it. What I've done is I went in and created another world using this, save, open that up, and then what I tried to do is bring that floor and the roof and that back wall. It slid them into place, and it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna do that when I'm ready and I'm done with everything that I'm using on the inside. Then I can close it up. And that goes like with the fences and the pathways. I'm gonna outline those. And I don't have to do vegetation inside, but I can do it outside. Kind of where the go-kart track is, that where the forklifts are racing. I want to kind of make that look like a loading dock, that every so often they get the forklifts together and have an official race put on by, because I can remember when I was in the Air Force, we had something similar to that in fuels. We called it our fuels rodeo, and each base that had a fuel section could put a team together, and they do different things, like do a slalom with the R9 refueler, 6,000 gallon refueler, and you had to leave it in and out of the cones. There was a backing up where you had to back it up into a spot, because they're not supposed to back a fuel truck up without a spotter. That was the law in the Air Force. You were not allowed to back up without a spotter, and they're supposed to set a chalk down so you didn't back up too far in anything. So we did that with the refueling trucks, and there was a checkpoint where they had a list of things that was wrong with the vehicle, and you had to find them. That was one thing. There was a test that they took, and then all these were put together with a combined score for the best team. And each team would have their t-shirts and stuff, indicating what base they're from and what part of the team they are part of and stuff like that. It's all fun, and then at the end of the thing, there's a big banquet. Awards are given out. It could be an official banquet that they put on, or it could be just a barbecue that's putting on the supporting fuel section that's putting on for everybody, and it's just a big day. Needs music, please. Flip, got print and post, put it in the cannon on the shelf. For me, Elite Studio in Sunfield, that OelGrez Fun and Jazz. Thank you for watching, and thank you for following. And this forklift is looking cool.